Hi, I'm Lindsay Preston, and welcome back to Story Mantra with my co-host Anju Gattani. We are very excited. It's the holiday season, and we decided to bring on a special guest who I will let Anju introduce to really get us into what it's like to write for a season.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We are super thrilled to have Priscilla Oliveras with us today. She is a USA Today Bestselling Author. She is a 2018 RWA Rita Double finalist. She writes contemporary romance with a Latinx flavor, and I love her Latinx accent. I think it's gorgeous. I've heard her speak it in person, and it's beautiful. So we're going to ask her to say some of that later. Priscilla has earned recognition in the Washington Post, New York Times, Entertainment Weekly, Redbook, and Publishers Weekly, with her latest novel, Island Affair, making the Oprah magazine. Woo, yes. She made the 28 of the best beach reads of summer 2020 list. She's a self-professed romance genre junkie. Priscilla is also a sports fan, beach lover, Zumba aficionado, and a hammock nap connoisseur. That one just made me laugh. You'll see her link at the bottom of our little video. And so you definitely want to click on her link, check out her books, which are on Amazon. And of course, check out her website because she is the queen of romance with a multicultural flavor and much more. So welcome, Priscilla.
Hi, everyone. I appreciate you saying that. I know I'm not the queen. There's an amazing familia of Latinx romance writers out there. We're small but growing group, and I'm really proud and humbled to be among all of them. So, but thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to chat today.
So Lindsay, where are we going to start off?
So I think we'll start off with her queen title, which she is now denying, but we all can, so we'll give it to her. And let's kind of talk about, you write, most of your books take place in a certain season or a time period. And it really takes an art craft to kind of focus on that without making it all about a holiday or the time of the year. How do you do that?
Well, I'll say at first, with my first two books, they're part of the Match to Perfection series. It's His Perfect Partner and Her Perfect Affair. It just, I did not plan them as Christmas books, other than the first book, His Perfect Partner. I knew that they were preparing. Yasmin is a Broadway dancer, and she's home to take care of their papi, their father, who's sick. And so she's volunteering back at her old dance school and helping with the Christmas kind of pageant Christmas show. So that, because I had that idea, then it just kind of made it have to set there. I guess I try really hard. It's part of whatever the story, and when I write with a lot of familia themes, so a lot of family themes, I think my family is really important to me. So it just kind of bleeds into my stories. And I feel like it's probably the holidays or different seasons leads to different events in which, the familia, whether it's blood by blood or whether it's found familia, would get together. And so that tended to happen or around celebrations, because even in book 3, Their Perfect Melody, that takes place in the summer. But the kind of like the group activity for me, summertime in our familia, it's baseball season. And so of course, in that book, the hero and heroine, that's Diego. Oh, I love Diego, but Diego and Lily are volunteering with the youth center. That's kind of what brings them together, or one of the things that brings them together. And so they take a group of the kids to a Cubs game, because we're in Chicago and I'm a huge Cubs fan. And so mostly I think the holiday seasons, like the book that's out right now, the novela that's out right now, because it is a short, on like a 25,000 word novela, Holiday Home Run. For me, it kind of was, that was the first time that I specifically wrote for a season. And for me, I mostly just focused on, again, like what are the events or the traditions that their familia, because it's within the Fernandez familia, that were important to them, that my readers may, if they're Latinx, or more importantly, if they're Puerto Ricanos, like the Fernandez sisters, that they would identify with, or if they're not Latinx, that they might be interested in hearing about. And so for me, writing Holiday Home Run, it was like a combination of a bunch of wonderful things that are my favorite, because Christmas is my favorite season and writing about familia is my favorite. And I'm a huge baseball fan. And in Holiday Home Run, then I made Ben is a former Chicago Cubs baseball pitcher. And so I got to write about all of those favorite things. And then that book has a little more special meaning to me because Julia is named for my abuela, Julia. And so I got my love of baseball from her, and that's on my mom's side, so my Puerto Rican side. So it was, I think writing for the seasons, I guess, to take us back to that question, for me is an opportunity to incorporate the things that are important to me and what I want to get into my books. And that is a flavor, a little bit of my culture, as well as like the familia aspects, the good and the bad, because there's always love, but there's always conflict, when you have familia, which is what you need in a romance.
Well, I have a really fun question for you because, everybody celebrates Christmas in their own way, no matter where we're from, the Christmas tree, the gifts, the whole feeling of whether it's hot chocolate or snow. But the bigger question I have is, how do you bring the element of your culture to give it that flavor, which is specific to your background and the characters in your story? As a writer, how do you do that?
Well, with Holiday Home Run, the Latinidad of the sisters, or Julia is a cousin who comes to visit the sisters. She has an internship, and secretly she wants to stay, even though her familia in Puerto Rico don't know that she doesn't really want to come back. And so the culture aspect, to me, it's not that I think about it because it's who they are. So when I talk about like whether they're making coquito, because that's the Puerto Rican eggnog, to me, it's natural for the sisters to be talking about that. Or in Holiday Home Run, Julie's an event planner, and so she's planning a fundraiser for the local youth center. And the spin that, and at that youth center, that specific location has a high Hispanic, Latinx population or demographic of the kids that frequent there. And so it was natural then for her to want to, one, give a nod and honor, the majority of the students. And so what she plans is a version of what we call in Puerto Rico a parranda. It's Christmas caroling when you go from house to house, but it goes normally like through the night, and you start at somebody's house and you pick up people along the way, and you eat and you drink and you're singing and you're dancing. And so I tried to incorporate that aspect of like the fundraiser that she was planning, mostly because that's what she would think to do. So I try really hard to not, I don't want to force my culture or my traditions, onto the page. Mostly think about my character, because even things that my girls and I might do at home, or that Mami and Papi and my larger familia might do, might not be what the Fernandez sisters would do. So it's important to me to try to be true to my characters, like by getting inside their head, getting to know their familia, and then putting that on the page so that it's more believable and it becomes a part of them and not like a cultural lesson for readers.
Right. Well, that's interesting. Lindsay, what would you say? Because you read a lot of manuscripts.
Yeah.
So I have not, it's just not my genre, the holiday, those holiday kind of books. Mm-hmm. And this is the first year that I'm really getting into them, because I'm on all these Facebook groups and I see all these suggestions. And to me, it's always been something I don't write either, because it really is. It's almost like you're creating another character. You have to try to create something that takes place in a season, but you don't want it to overwhelm the story, because the characters are really the priority. I mean, it just so happens to be your characters are doing their traditions in the holiday season. Right. So how do you do that where you don't make the actual holiday overwhelm the story, where the characters can still be the main focus? Is it a hard thing to juggle?
It's a balancing act, isn't it, Priscilla? How do you do it?
I guess I would think like in His Perfect Partner, so that was book 1 in the Match Perfection series, and it takes place like it begin right when it starts. It's like the week before Thanksgiving, and then it goes actually through into the new year and past the new year. So like they're together over New Year's Eve. They talk about Christmas. It's mostly just, again, thinking about, as a writer, like what needs to happen. What are the specific events that are going to push your character through their character arc, make them uncomfortable so they grow? Remembering that, the holidays are around that. So how can you incorporate that? But again, the focus should not be, because I think even in Holiday Home Run, which was specifically a holiday novella for a holiday anthology, so maybe the holiday aspect is a little bit heavier, or that thread is a little bit, wider, or I don't know anything about thread, so thicker, whatever thread would be. But yet the readers are coming to your novel for the romance and for the relationship. So it's thinking about that the holiday season, whatever it is. For me, it's been Christmas. Like Stacey Agdern has a book out right now, and I think it's like Mistletoe and Menorahs. So that's about Jewish holidays. So whatever the holiday is that you're weaving throughout, the focus still needs to be on the characters and the story and the romance. And the holiday could put them in more difficult situations. Like you see a lot of romances where I don't want to go to the family dinner, alone again and be stuck at the kids' table. So they, then you get the fake relationship. Will you pretend to be my boyfriend, or will you pretend to be my date, whatever that is, my significant other. So it can lend itself, writing around a holiday can lend itself. I would say the same thing, whether it's a holiday or that's how we get like family weddings, right? There's some kind of big family event, a family reunion, a family wedding, and that's how you can get a lot of fake relationship tropes, because the one or the other of the main characters don't want to show up alone. But it's not just that event, or it's not just that holiday. It has to be about the characters and focusing on what kind of situations you can put them in that are going to make them uncomfortable, that are going to make them grow together, that are also going to then push them apart in some way, as you're working your way to that happily ever after or happily for now.
How do you, because you have this like limited time period, give it Thanksgiving to New Year's, you create these really warm and like these really interesting relationships. And how do you make a relationship grow in a way that feels organic and real, and where the reader's going to want to really is very invested into these characters over a short period of time?
That's I feel like really the one where I was most challenged with that was Island Affair, and that's not a holiday romance at all.
It's like, I ask you about that. It's
a vacation. It's a fake relationship. Our heroine is just arrived in Key West for a family vacation, and things are touchy with her family. She's kind of like a little bit like the black sheep because she's a social media influencer. They are all highly respected and well known in their town, at least, and they live in the Phoenix area. Surgeons and
a lot
doctors.
of snorkeling, beachy activities going on, fun things happening in that book.
In this book, yes. So like for me, Island Affair, I really wanted readers to feel like they had visited Key West. So similar to like a holiday, I wanted kind of like the island to be a little bit of its own character, or to really have a say in what was going on in the activities. So this one's a fake relationship. She arrives and she gets there and she gets a call from the guy that she was already iffy about, that he's going to no-show. And so she convinces a firefighter that she meets at the airport, who's got time on his hands and that he doesn't want to have on his hands, to pretend to be her boyfriend for a week. So that one definitely had that ticking time clock. And so I feel like, or Alexis Daria has a holiday novella out, and it has a ticking time clock of like by New Year's Eve, I think, things they have to decide, or there's something. So having that small time frame can kind of up the ante on the tension, or on will they, won't they, because time's running out. Are they gonna, you know, depends on how steamy your novel is. Will they, won't they kiss? Will they, won't they fall into bed? You know, whatever that will they, won't they is, you know, so it's building an anxiety, you know, in the characters, but also within your readers, because they want whatever it is that you're building to. And so like for Island Affair, Key West became part of, you know, like activities that they do. They, you know, they went on a bike ride together, or they, you know, they go to South Beach, like Key West South Beach. They're out on Luis's boat with her family. They go dancing at Caribe, at Mesón de Pepe, which is a restaurant on Mallory Square, you know, and he takes her to see their first sunset festival, you know, on Mallory Square. So it was, but all of the little events, you know, or the scenes that the island took place in, I was also conscious all the time of how could I be upping the ante in their relationship, you know, while they were doing whatever Key Westy thing, you know, they were involved in. So the same thing with Holiday Home Run. You know, what?
Can we see the cover of Holiday Home Run?
Oh, sure. Let me bring it up on that. My iPad went to sleep, so let me bring it awake. And Holiday Home Run. So yes, so this is the cover.
It's so pretty.
For Holiday Home Run. They did a really good job. I don't think you can see it, but if you go, it's like, it is on Amazon, but it's also Kobo and Apple and Barnes and Noble. So, and whichever retailer you prefer. But on the end of the R, they have a little baseball ornament hanging, which I thought, and I say they, that's Kensington. This Kensington's my publisher. They did a really great job capturing the feel, and it was lots of fun. They sent me like 3 different versions with 3 different covers, and we, you know, settled on this one, and then you know, small tweaks, but it was real. Ultimately, they did a fabulous job, and I was really thankful that they let me have a little bit of say in how it goes. So that's a little different from traditional publishing to indie.
So that's the next question I have. And before I forget, everybody, if you look below our little video, you'll see the link to Priscilla's website and also the purchase links for the books. And since we're in the month of December, you do want to go and buy that book now. Given the situation outside, it's going to give you a nice holiday feel, whether you want to be in Key West or whether you want to be sitting with a hot cup of cocoa. So my next question, and this is one Lindsay would definitely also be motivated to ask, is traditional publishing.
Yes.
How do you work with your publishers, the cover, the say? How does it all work?
And sure. It's even focused right now. You have such seasonal books. How does it work when the book comes out? How much say do you have in that?
I guess first I'll say that I know just in my personal conversations with other author friends, it could be a little different for everybody. So I'll speak to, you know, my experience with Kensington, even my experience. I have one beach book, Resort to Love, that came out with Thule. That's part of a continuity series with 3 other authors. And both Thule and Kensington have been wonderful as far as, you know, like there's a form that you fill out and you give them information about your characters, and I always send pictures of so these have been my inspirational pictures for the hero and the heroine, and you know, that kind of thing. Sometimes they ask about specific scenes, things like that, and then I always get a mock-up. With Holiday Home Run, they actually sent me 3 different ones and said, what do you think? Typically I'll just get like 1 and say, hey, this is what we're starting with. You know, there have been times in the past, I will say with Their Perfect Melody, that's Lily and Diego's book. In book 1 and 2, Lily has a short pixie haircut like that. That's just Lily. She's a ball of energy. You know, that's how that's kind of like the vibe that she gives. However, with my covers, they used stock photos. And until Lily's cover, I did not realize how few, meaning like none, we were able to find stock photos of a Latinx couple, because Lily and Diego are Latinx. He's Puerto Riqueño from the Humboldt Park area in Chicago, and she's Puerto Riqueña from a suburb. We could not find a stock photo of a Latinx couple with a female that had short hair at all.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So Kensington, to their credit, they went back and they tried again. They found a picture of a Latinx girl with short hair and another guy, and they tried to like superimpose. It did not have the right vibe. It did not go with the first two covers. The first two covers are like couples embrace, kind of like dancing, which went with so we went back to the original cover, and because Lily's book is supposed to be 4 years in the future, like from when book 1 came out, I just said, okay, Lily grew out her hair. She graduated from college, and when she started working, she let her hair grow out because there's nothing we could do. And I wanted the cover to match the description. One person told me, well, the cover doesn't really have to match. And for me, I was like, no, I want to see Lily on the cover.
Yeah.
Can you show us Lily on the cover?
I'm sorry?
Can you show us Lily on the cover?
Here are the three. Here is his perfect partner. Yasmin is a professional, the dancer, and she's a dance instructor, and it just totally was her vibe of this confident woman. And then here is Rosa and Jeremy, and she's like our sweet, quiet, but really determined. Like her determination and her ability to stand up for herself really surprises kind of everyone in this book. But I just felt like the way she's looking at Jeremy was totally Rosa. It fit perfectly. And then they sent me this for Lily, and I was like, huh? And my editor wrote me, and he said, okay, I know it's not Lily's hair, but we have scoured, and then my mom and some other friends and I scoured, and it is the perfect, like it speaks to their relationship. It has the right feel. Everything is perfect except for her hair. And so I just thought, I could change that. And it was hard because it wasn't how I pictured Lily, but yet she's kind of grown into it. And then what I did honestly is if you haven't read Their Perfect Melody, or if you have it, first of all, thank you. Second of all, there's a little scene in there that the sisters, the familia are all together. It's the first time Diego's there at their house, and he's playing a little concert for the sisters and their kids, and Rosa and Lily are talking, and in their conversation, Rosa like tugs Lily's long hair and says, I still miss that pixie cut of yours, or something like that.
Oh, that was smart.
I needed that moment in the book, because I was feeling the same thing that Rosa was feeling, like, oh, I missed that. But I was able to like give that little nod.
Your covers are beautiful.
Kensington is done really awesome. Even I will say they did like a rebrand, or like a cover, a recover of the digital copies of the Match to Perfection. And once again with that, they were really good about sending them to me and allowing me some feedback. There was one that was totally off the market first, and they were open to listening to my suggestions, and actually made a huge change for book 1. It was not the right feel. I felt it wasn't making the right promise to the reader, and kudos to Kensington for not saying, well, sorry, this is what we already made, and instead.
So a very collaborative effort.
Yes. So for me, I've been blessed, and they've been very collaborative. I know it's different for some other authors and with different publishers, but I've been blessed thus far. And even here's the cover for Resort to Love. It's the continuity series, and they listened to a lot of my comments and were really, really open to working. I'm going to just put these here because I'm worried they'll fall down.
I know we are out of time for today, but we will be back with Priscilla next week to talk even more about her fantastic books and for more tips on writing. So thank you everybody who joined us today, and we hope to see you next week.
And thank you for being with us, Priscilla. We loved having you.
Thank you so much. It was fun chatting.
Thanks.